सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। So take 2 to 3 minutes. Write your questions. Okay, let's begin. How do we know that God is everywhere? First question. To know that something is everywhere, we have to understand its subtleness or grossness. When we look into the 5 elements, earth, you take a piece of whatever and you place it, it stays in that position until there is a external force applied, and it has its dimensions which define it to that level. It cannot spread beyond that. Water has the tendency, inherent tendency to flow from higher to lower surface, and it has a tendency to occupy the shape of anything that it is poured into. These are the known qualities of water, and it can spread provided there is an angle to it, tilt to the surface. Whereas fire can spread in the 2 dimension as well as the 3 dimension. It can go upward also. Air. How do you know that air is all over? If you don't take shower and step in, we will know. The smell will come here. Or you light a agarbatti and that agarbatti smell will go all over the place. And what is transmitting that? It's the air. And this air has a certain movement to it, and the quality of it is to purify the surface or purify the environment. If you are getting into a house which has not been opened for a long time, it has that staleness to it. So what do? You open all the doors and windows and allow the air to cross ventilate, and it removes all this staleness by bringing the fresh breeze. Subtler than all these above 4 is the space. That space which is in between the electrons of an atom, there is nothing but space there. Right? We have been told. And the space that this entire universe, this cosmos is, all these planetary objects are hanging in, is also nothing but space. From that minute to that broader perspective. That which is subtler than the space is called consciousness. That which can pervade, that which can permeate. And it is this consciousness that we define as God. Anything other than that consciousness as a definition would fail to logically come to a point saying that God is all pervasive. And because He is all pervasive, which means He is everywhere, there is not a single space or time or object or thing that does not exist without His being permeating it. Therefore, it is presupposed that that which exists because it is permeated by or supported by that God or consciousness. Therefore, the scriptures also say that if it exists, it has to be supported by that God, because He is all pervasive. Do you understand the sequence? Your second question: what percentage of the time are humans born as animals or something else in their next life? I don't have a percentage for you, but it purely depends on what kind of activities that we do in this life. If they are of a negative tone, if they are of a selfish tone, the activities, the intentions behind the activities, then the reciprocating animal birth is guaranteed. How much percentage? I don't have. But you do something here in this life which has some animalistic tendencies, then we go back to that animalistic life or an expression of it. Yeah, fulfill that vasana there as that animal, and then you are given a wild card to express yourself as a human. You understand the concept of wild card? Dennis? Hopefully answer. It seems like it is running as a continuation in the family. The next question is also in the same line. After death, depending on the merits and demerits, we will be punished or tortured by different means, like whatever. He has given an explanation. The question is after death we will not have a body. How will the soul know the change? There is not this gross body, but there is a subtle body, and that subtle body is called Yatanamaya Deha. It's a subtle one, that with which the jiva, the soul, packs everything and moves to the next world. And that Yatanamaya Deha, though it is tortured or it goes through these torturous situations, through that Yatanamaya Deha is what the soul feels the pain or pleasure of heaven or hell. So there is a subtle body. It is not completely bodiless, but this is not this body. This physical body is not. Yo. Any kind of suffering. Yeah. Yes, suffer or enjoy. Both, not just one. Then it would be imbalanced equation. Heaven or hell, depending on what you have done. If you have done really good tasks, then you can become a judge or a senator or something in a good position, and you will cherish that. If you have done something bad, then you will go to the Sri Krishna Janmasthana. You know what is Sri Krishna Janmasthana? A prison. Yeah, you can't avoid it, right? Who, we as Hindus? No, I didn't say that. I just gave it as an example for him to grasp that. So if you go back to, just to give you the scriptural reference, go back to the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan very clearly says that depending on the papa and punya, merits and demerits done in this life, merits and sins acquired in this life, you go through the effects of it, you go through the result of it as heaven or hell. There is another plane of consciousness where there is heaven or hell, and after finishing your accounts of merits and sin, then you come back. Now when you come back into the earth, this is where you get an opportunity to wash yourself clean of all the impressions that you have gathered in your earlier life, which are called vasanas. So it comes in the 9th chapter. Kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. You just go through that, pass by, come out of it, and then come to the earth. Right. I do believe there is a hell and heaven, but I don't believe if there is a jurisdiction of a Christian hell or a Muslim hell or a Hindu hell. There must be one common area. Otherwise, it will be too populated there that so many religions, so many denominations, so many different kinds of hell. I don't think so. There will be one common heaven or hell. We go through that and come back to this earth. The question answers were on Hindu tenets, Hindu beliefs. Now you change my question paper. Let us stick to the question paper. I would agree completely, but I'll keep it there. But did you get your answer clear? They have a Yatanamaya Deha. What is the proper way of chanting Om? Is it necessary to elongate O or the M? There are different reasons or methods of using Om. When, like today when we say hello, it has become a way of addressing each other or seeking attention of each other. Not in long ago, but in recent past as well, Om was used even for addressing each other or calling for attention for each other. We do that in Chinmaya mission, right? When you want to call somebody's attention and you don't know their name, or you say, hey, Hari Om. Hari Om becomes the name. Is it really their name? No. It's It's like a substitute, pratyamnaya. Right. Sometimes it is by saying Om, you are giving permission. Like when the teacher asks the student to stand up and answer, and the student stands up and looks at the teacher saying, may I? So the teacher says Om, Om meaning continue. And if the student says something wrong, and the teacher looks at that student and says, Om, meaning what? Exactly, meaning what? What exactly are you saying? So Om was used as a very common thing, like what we say, Hari Om in Chinmaya mission. So Om was a very common thing. Now this is at the very utilitarian level. When there is a mantra, and that mantra gets empowered by the addition of Om, at that time when you chant the Om, like say Om Namah Shivaya, so there you are empowering that mantra Namah Shivaya, and when you are chanting it as a japa, there is not necessity for it to be elongated. The same Om when chanted, when it is elongated, it is used in the meditative techniques to quieten the mind when it is synchronized with your breathing. And it has always to be said with Om and not, like I have heard people chant it as Aum. No, that would be not the right way of chanting it. Even in elongation, it will be the Om alone which is chanted, where there is O or M which is elongated, and that is for quietening the mind. So with different purposefulness of where it is being used, that Om has different utilities. No, there is a mention of it, but it is used for certain meditative purposes, to quieten the mind. So I say the O, the longer, and the shorter one. Was that a part of a discussion somewhere or a question? The purpose of room being stretched will be different. What are the things can, should, or not do on the no moon day? Every day is a no moon day. It's only the nights that are no moon or full moon. And that's what immediately stuck in my head. Like, every day is a no moon day. So the Amavasya is what your question is. This is a tricky question. It gets tricky because those of them who follow the solar calendar, they have specific attributes given to the new moon day or the no moon day, Amavasya day. And mostly it is, I would say, Tamil traditions, and in the Shakta also they use Amavasya as a very important day. Therefore, Amavasya finds its importance in Odisha and West Bengal, where the Shakta following is higher. On a very serious note, every day is an auspicious day to do your regular nitya karma, including puja, japa, sadhana. Every day is auspicious. You wake up and you are breathing, you are alive. That in itself is the auspiciousness expressed. For doing these nitya karma and your puja, japa, sadhana, you don't need an almanac to decide and deliver your directions as to what should be or should not be done. Specific kinds of special events in life, specific ones, there you refer to the almanac or the Panchanga. Whether it is a solar calendar or the lunar calendar, you follow the Panchanga. In the Panchanga, you have Tithi, Vara, Nakshatra, Yoga and Karana. These are the 5 components of the Panchanga. There are certain combinations wherein certain important aspects of life which are like once in a lifetime kind of thing. For many it may be the sadhana, once in a lifetime. Do it once and done. I am not going to do it again. Then definitely please go to the Panchanga and find a good time to do it. So that it may end up becoming a good habit. What are the once in a lifetime kind of event?
Hopefully marriage.
Hopefully marriage. Thank you. Who added that hopefully there? You added, Deva? No, she already said it has to be him.
He listens. I said so quietly.
The baby's naming ceremony.
Baby's naming ceremony, Jatakarma, even the baby being born. Upanayana. Upanayana also is a once in a lifetime. So all these activities, then you have housewarming. How many times did you buy a house on an average? Tell me. Once, maybe twice. If you are Devan, then twice.
But it's not uncommon for me.
But 3-4 baar?
How people move a lot.
People move a lot. I have also moved all my life. But I have not lived in a particular place more than a certain time, not more than 2 or 3 years. I have constantly kept shifting on. So housewarming is also not something that you do on a regular basis unless you are a realtor or a developer. You take maybe once in twice or thrice maybe max. You buy a house or build a house. So you take a Tithi Vara Nakshatra and then decide the time. Rest of the life, whether I have to eat food, not eat food, or go out or not go out, these regular should not be ordained by the Panchanga. When people become too crazy about Panchanga, that they'll say, oh, this is Durmuhurta, this is Rahu Kala, this is... Your life and living will become miserable. They have to be checked only for these special events, which are not Nitya Karma, which are Naimittika Karma. Naimittika, special, once in a lifetime kind of events where you look into those almanacs. For spiritual purposes, Ekadashi, Dvadashi, Paurnami, Amavasya, they are very, very sublime, very subtle forces work which enhance your sadhana. Therefore, for sadhana, these 4-5 days during the 15 phases of the moon, that it is supposed to be very helpful. Did you have any other specific question about a certain do or certain don't about Amavasya?
More particularly, back in Tamil Nadu, as you said, Swamiji, all the special events, special things, it's very, Amavasya days is a is a great day to start with. People wait for that day to start with. But after coming here, probably from the north side of the people believe
No,
that
not necessarily north. Whether it is Karnataka, Andhra, Kerala, they also don't do things on Amavasya.
But anything north of
Kaveri, pretty much.
Spoken like a true Tamilian. Kaveri is in North India.
I tried to wear shoes.
Okay, point taken then.
So that's the reason particularly I asked Swamiji, just to get clarified.
As I said, the influence of that particular tradition in Kerala, Odisha and West Bengal to have things start on Amavasya is because of the Shakti Puja. And every village has a village deity which invariably becomes a Devi form. Usually in Tamil Nadu it is some kind of one or the other formats of Mariamman.
Yeah.
So because of that Shakti tradition, which is often forgotten because of the Chola and Pallava where there was a lot of Vaishnava and Shaiva, but the roots of this was even before that was the Shakti Puja.
Correct.
And because of that Shakti Puja, the Amavasya has gained that prominence.
There is one thing in Mahabharata also, that is the war they wanted to start on, that just waited for the no moon day to start with. So both of them believe that if I start on that day,
Victory will be there.
victory will be there.
It's once in a lifetime kind of a war.
That was actually World War I. It happened 5,000 years ago, but still I would consider that as World War I.
Thank you, sir.
Swami, on that topic, are there certain events or days that we should avoid or not do?
What kind of activities are we talking about? As I said, with the regular day-to-day activities, every day is an auspicious day because you are
Yes.
born, you are alive that day and you got to do what you got to do.
Are there any days that like you should absolutely don't do anything? Like,
Not doing anything, there are no days. To do something special, there are 4 days.
Like buying a metal on Saturday.
we have
Buying a metal on Saturday.
Buying buying a certain metal on certain day or giving money to someone on certain day or not. If you go into traditional beliefs from Rajasthan all the way to Chennai, I can give you almost, which makes it like almost every day there is something that you should or you should not. It'll get more complicated.
So that is why I asked a generic question. It's more exclusive and says these are the things not supposed to do or these are the things you should avoid. And
That's why I made it even more generic. Everything that you have to do day-to-day things.
thank you for clarifying that.
Don't look into the almanac, just get to do it.
So we can't cut hairs on Saturdays. Very up things like that. Which doesn't apply to me, but my point.
That was my next thing.
Women in a household always.
I was going to sing a song. Tere mere.
So just thank you for clarifying that. I wonder if for this strike they check the muhurat or not.
Which one?
This surgical strike they performed, did they check the muhurat for that or not?
Probably then. I don't know.
Probably did. Be interesting.
That's why he waited for 3 more days to.
Perhaps.
I have questions here. Let me first complete this and hold on. Uma. If we have to reduce vasanas, then we should not make decisions that will create more. How do we not make decisions? That does not seem possible.
I didn't understand the question.
You are a clean slate.
Yeah, exactly.
You just spoke too soon too fast. I'll be using it all 7 days. Thanks, sir.
The
question.
It was a compliment. Thank you.
The question that she is asking is that the purpose of karma yoga is to reduce vasanas, which means or which presupposes that we should not be doing things which will encourage creating more vasanas. Therefore, we should be doing things that will only deplete our vasanas, not create our vasanas. But it seems to be impossible. That there are newer things that we get into, newer things that we jump into, and fear is we may be creating newer vasanas. There are 2-3 different ways to look at it, all leading to the same point. 1. That which is unfolding as my life or experience right now, to which I have to cater. And when I say to which I have to cater, just saying that I am trying to give my best does not cut it. We have to give our best which that situation is demanding out of us. Sometimes we may have to reduce our skill set in delivering whatever is required. Like in my native language, they say, don't use Brahmastra on a sparrow. Just because you have it. In Telugu, they say, Pichika meeda Brahmastra vaddu. Not on a sparrow. You don't need it. Oh, I'm giving my best. Your best there is not. And I usually give a funny episode or an incident that when these walls, you have to hang something. You don't need the hammer and nail kind of a system which we used to use in India. The very first experience, the third or fourth day, my experience in US, 15 years ago though, that I walked all the way to nearest Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, got nails and hammer and smacked it with all my force. I gave it my best shot. And the hammer, the nail, my hand, everything went through 2 sheetrock layers. This side and that side. I gave it my best shot. Giving your best is not the solution. Giving the best that the situation demands. Sometimes it is less than what you already have as a power or as a Shakti. That's why they say that thumb tag. All that it requires is your thumb power, not your arm muscle power. Sometimes the situation that we are in requires more than what we already have. Therefore, we need to equip. And that vasana is to help oneself face one's own experience and grow forward thereby. Because every experience that is unfolding, it's not someone else's experience by mistake unfolding in my life. It doesn't happen. It's my own life, it's my own vasana which is catering these experiences. So even if there is something new that has to be learned, it is something which will enhance you to move forward and away, depleting your vasana and not create your vasana, if taken from that perspective. But instead of looking at life from the perspective of depleting vasanas and fulfilling responsibilities, if we cater to our life in desire fulfillment, then we are creating more patterns of vasanas. Therefore, the very root cause of the 6 Shatru that are talked about, it starts from Kama. Kama is the desire. So if we give in to that desire, we are creating more patterns of vasana. But if we are looking life at answering and catering to responsibilities, then it is depleting vasanas and not creating. I think that gives a distinction and understanding. In Mahabharata, the way Vyasji has written a combination of historic events and Puranas, I first thought it is just historic, but after listening to Chidrupanandji, a lot of stories sounded Pauranic. The narrative which Sri Vedavyasji has given may sound like Pauranic, but the roots of that is in some historic event.
What is Pauranic?
Pauranic is something, again, Pauranic necessarily does not have to mean as a myth or a mythology, which is again a misconception, I would believe. Purana is, the way I would define Purana is, the stories of various gods and deities, chronologically organized. Therefore, you will see Ganesha's chronological order of stories of himself as well as his interaction with devotees would be called as Ganesha Purana. Vishnu's Vishnu Purana, Devi's Devi Bhagavata. But the shaili or the way in which they have been written is sometimes there are certain examples taken purely for the sake of example to prove certain point. Even stories narrated to prove a certain point which may or may not have actually happened. Their Katha Shaili, that is. Mahabharata implements that Katha Shaili, but most of the events are rooted in the actual events that have happened, but presented in a Katha Shaili, which is an easy way to reach across when you are giving a multiple layered 7 generations worth life and experiences. You make it like Ramayana, then you lose the interest and focus. Ramayana is very bullet pointed, there is not much of a leeway there, the way Valmiki has written. So Vedavyasji has developed that technique, and for him to shift from these techniques is not that difficult because he has written Brahma Sutras, he has written Mahabharata, he has written Puranas, he has compiled the entire Vedic literature. So his depth at knowledge, wisdom and language would be particularly great. He has employed Pauranic science. So it is a statement of fact, and I agree with you. If all gods are one, why can't we focus on one Ishta Devata function? Can we do that? You mean if your Ishta Deva is Ayyappa, when will be the function? No, I'm really confused now. If your Ishta Deva is Ayyappa, but the Makar Sankranti is not with relation to Ayyappa. I had to now do research. Your question put me in a different. Okay. So if it is Ganesha, then doing Ganesha Chaturthi and then be done with it.
Very efficient system.
No sadhana, nitya sadhana, nitya sadhana.
Purely American.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
you have to, how often do you visit India? Please make it regular every year. You're becoming too American right now. Now, if all forms of God are one and the same, so what is your objection to worship that one form in different formats?
That's is that okay? If you go for Krishna Jayanti, you only see Ganesh.
Yeah. In fact, there is a very famous story of Samartha Ramadas. He was the guru of Shivaji, the likes of Shivaji, like he has created Shivaji. So he once visits Pandharpur. And the story is, there are these several devotees during the same time frame, like Tukaram, Eknath, Gaura Kumbhar and Namdev, and all of them were in the same time frame. So they have narrated this story about Ramdas ji, and as Ramdas ji was walking in, they overheard Vitthova, which is Krishna, talking to Rukmini, saying, quickly change your makeup. Because Ramdas is coming and his favorite or his Ishtadeva is Rama, and he will now tease me, saying that, what is this holding on to this flute and things like that, chichi, and he'll start criticizing me. For his sake, now I am going to take a Kodanda and stand as Rama. Now you come as Sita, quickly change your makeup and stand as Sita. There is an Abhanga written by them about Ramdas ji and how Vitthova changes himself for the sake of his devotee. Because he sees Rama in everything that he worships or ever participates in. So you can do the same. And that is the very meaning of Tvameva Matacha Pita Tvameva. That I see you, invoke you as my mother, as my father, as my everything. In every form that I come across, I see you and you alone. Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. My Deva, that Ishtadeva, I see it in all formats. That should be the way it should be interpreted, rather than being so economically stingy, saying that I do once and I'm done. And having answered it that way, I take it to a different level of understanding. The different level of understanding would be that all these different festivities, the way they have been aligned, is so that our mind has a tendency to become complacent and develop techniques to avoid various disciplines. So the rishis have found that every day almost there is something or the other, some Chaturthi, some Panchami, some Shashti, some Ashtami, some Navami, something or the other happening, thereby relating that mind back to that divinity one way or the other, that it cannot ever escape the concept of connecting with that divine through divinizing the dates. Because all these should be in such a way that it gives a break from our monotonous life and charges it up to do something spectacular with your own life. See, when we go for a break these days, say you go to say Disney World, Disneyland, wherever you go for vacation, how many times did you not feel after coming back that you as parents needed one more vacation from vacation? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
All the time.
Thank you. Because the Disneyland or Disney World, one of them has this Epcot Center. Do you know what that Epcot means? Every person comes out tired. You will be tired from vacation. Therefore, the rishis have envisioned something that is not in the usual turf of constant things happening, which is your day-to-day mundane activities, but something that is inspiring enough that connects you with that divine. Once in a month, or once in a week, once in a fortnight, there is that spurge of event that will happen that will connect you back. And that's why we even name our children, or supposed to name our children, the names of various gods and goddesses, so that when we repeat. But today it has become a representation of fashionable representation, wherein the names have been broken up, and sometimes it is hilarious the way we name our children these days. So I have this boy named as Pani. I said, what do you mean? Is it Hindi water? What does Pani? Oh, it is actually, my parents are devotees of Lord Rama, and there is one name, it comes in Rama's 1,000 names. I know it in and out, through and through. I have never heard one word of Rama as Pani. So what exactly? Oh, Kodanda Pani. And you cut it short, Pani. The whole purpose of naming it was so that you can remember the Lord. Now it has become a fashion. So when people say, Swamiji, we are expecting a daughter, and give some unique name that nobody ever has. So I give all kinds of funny names. Have you heard Lalita Sahasranama? भंडासुर वधोद्युक्ता ले किसी के पास ऐसा नाम नहीं है. Nobody ever has named their child this. Your child will have a unique name. So the purpose has to be understood. The purpose is to remember the Lord's name. Yes, but just naming Pani, if you can remember the Lord, I don't mind it. But others will not. So for the benefit of others, please come to a common platform. Kind request. Okay. Can you provide insights into mind wavering? Provide tools to handle mind more efficiently. Thank you. If mind wavers, congratulations, it is active, you are alive. It should not be a complaint because it is in its natural state of existence. If somebody says boiling water has lot of steam, that is a sign that it is boiling. If you have a complaint with it steaming, then don't boil. Mind constantly wavering and running from one thought to the other is its active state of existence. It should not be a complaint state of existence. Why does it become a complaint? That active state is not directed by me. That when what it thinks, it's scary because I have not triggered that thought, but it is running. Right? If I have something and I have triggered it, then I can take responsibility. This is something which is, so how do I curtail it? Shutting it, closing it, trying to tamper with it will not be successful. The more you try to tamper with it or hold it and under pressure, it may obey for a certain time, but afterwards it is going to retaliate. And when it does retaliate, it retaliates with a vigorous force. It's like when you corner a cat, even the cat can scare you. Have you ever cornered a cat? Your own cat. Not even your neighbors or something in the neighborhood. Your own cat, try cornering it. Anybody have cats? Experience with cats?
YouTube. Yes.
I'm glad I am not a teacher or professor in whose class you were there when you were young.
You can experience with his son, by the way, if you want.
Hanji?
His son is exactly like him, so you can experience with him.
No, I have a strict policy. ABMM नहीं करता मैं. आ बैल मुझे मार. So when you corner a cat, it just springs back and it makes such a huge effort that even you will get scared. Mind is like that. It'll spring back with that force. Instead of trying to bottle it up and control it, the rishis have said the better way to access or find accessibility to mind is observe the mind. And in order to observe the mind, we need to be not in the flow of the mind, but on the shore to observe the flow. The highway here is called 49. Has anybody crossed from this side of 49 to that side of 49 walking? Oh, for your job. So you were wearing a separate kind of a headgear and then a vest kind of a thing, right? But you were wearing something to. Once it happened that I had to walk 4 lanes in a busy freeway. That is when I appreciated me wearing orange. And when I stepped out, I could be seen from distance and people started moving into the other lanes. I was like a tall, gigantic red cone or orange cone. Both rear tires burst. And it was like, I-35, and the shoulder was not there. And I had 4 or 5 people, or 4 people in my car. So I had to stop the entire traffic, leave that car there and come to the shoulder. It's quite a freak show. It's not that easy. For people to even note that your car has gone bad and they have to stop and allow you to, they're quite considerate, but the speed with which they go, it's crazy. The street right across here, is it easy to cross? Yeah. Easier than the 49. On the other side, not on the main street here next to the CFL, the other side, right across the stop sign. I don't even need to ask because there is hardly any traffic. You just can walk and jog and do a lot of things there. Presently our mind is like the I-49. Constant gush of thoughts occurring. And where are we? Smack in the middle of it. Cars going all across, traffic going all across. Different thoughts, different emotions. And sometimes I get caught in or hit by different emotions, thoughts that I get carried away. Instead of trying to stop the cars, what should we do? Get out of the flow. Am I getting across? For which we have to understand that I am not my emotion. There are different kinds of emotions. There is a good thought, there is a bad thought, there is a sad thought, there is a glad thought. There are lots of different emotions that it flows. Just because it is a good thought, I don't need to become good. Just because it is a sad thought, I don't need to become sad. Just because it is raining outside, do I need to become wet? Does it sound like a stupid question?
No.
Just because it is raining outside, do I need to become wet?
No.
But if I have to go out, I have different methods. I can wear a poncho, I can sit in my car in the garage and then walk, drive out. There's no rain at all that will touch me. Right?
Similarly, inside, when it is raining these emotions, just because there is a sad thought, glad thought, bad thought, indifferent thought, I don't need to become them. But I'm in middle of that flow that I keep getting hit. That it becomes a problem. The first thing to identify is I am not that thought. Second thing, walk from that flow out, from where we can sit and observe. For gaining that capacity, the rishis have advised us to use the method called japa. But instead of using it as a technique to help us walk to the sight line from where we can observe our own thoughts, we use it for marathon. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 as if some dog is chasing. People do chant, and when they are chanting, they are not paying attention to what they are chanting, but they are paying attention to the count. That 108 times I have to quickly finish it. See, when I was growing up, I was also the same mindset. Because my dad used to force us to chant that Vishnu Sahasranam every day before eating food. And between me and my brother, we had the competition. And we could complete the Purva Pitha, the main Vishnu Sahasranam, and the Phalashruti all put together under 7.5 minutes. Did I understand? Did he understand? Did anybody around understand? I don't know. I don't think even he understood.
Just the project counts.
That's what my father thought. Just a thought counts. They're sitting doing something at least. Let them at least do that. For me at that time, and in that age, it was mostly because I had to complete it. I had to finish that chore. Japa is not something that is used by the kamchor to finish a chore. But it is used as something that equips and empowers us to walk away from that flow and from there observe that flow. And if it is that good a technique, which has to be applied with regularity every single day, I would say at least twice, once in the morning, once in the evening. Once to sharpen the mind before it gets into the work life, and the second after you get back from life to unwind that mind and clean it up. So twice, 108 times. Whichever is your Ishtadaiva, take that Ishtadaiva mantra. If it is Lord Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. If it is Vishnu, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. If it is Ganesha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Or if it is Devi, Om Saraswati Namaha, Om Durga Devi Namaha. Whatever is the form, take that mantra and chant that mantra. Don't keep jumping from one mantra to the other. Stick to one mantra one time, morning and evening. That will help during the day to be able to observe the mind, direct the mind, and have the freedom to choose which thought to be applied when. That accessibility is gained. The practices in our culture seem to have deep science and inner meaning in it. Thank you. While we take the knowledge in Vedas and spread, wouldn't it be more effective for us to explain the science and inner meaning for Hindus to believe in Hinduism better? That is what Balavihar program we are trying to do. And thank you for being a part of it. In trying to do exactly what we are trying to say. Not everything that we are practicing can be explained as science and suggested. The right word would be
Guided.
symbolic. Not everything can be explained through science and symbolism. Because there are certain aspects of it only which we can experience. Until then they are, I won't say mysterious, but mystical. not mythical, not mysterious, but they are very of a different nature of plane of consciousness or experience. And for that science which does not even have a grip at understanding what consciousness means, the experience of realm of consciousness to be put across through science becomes not just difficult but impossible.
That was very difficult to understand.
Science has yet to decipher the definition of consciousness. Right? And that which is experienced as consciousness through the methods that the various Vedic dictums are indicating cannot be put through signs or symbolism. That can be only experienced as a personal swanubhuti, where science cannot explain it. Therefore, it is not a wonder when Vivekananda said, spirituality begins where science stops. So that realm which science cannot get an access, trying to put it in terms of science and symbolism in itself gets invalidated. But there are a major chunk of it which can be explained through science and symbolism, which we are already trying to do. But that which cannot be grasped by science, to put it in terms of science, becomes only difficult. Within science, there is metaphysics which even science doesn't get a grip at. And those who are the physicists of quantum physicists, and they, when they look into the realm of consciousness, they themselves are yet to find a grip at even defining consciousness, let alone understand it. Therefore, science would not be a complete means or a module to put the entire experience as a science package. But until then, there are certain processes which have lot of depth, meaning, like traditions and various things that we practice. There are a lot of meaning and depth in it, which can be put in the terms of science or symbolism, which should be done. I am trying to put two distinct things. The higher spirituality cannot be explained by science. The other processes can be explained by science, which we should be. We are already trying to do it.
The subjective science.
Subjective science and objective science.
The other angle to it was basically what triggered this question. Obviously, I made this up while I was thinking, right? So, but the point is, I was thinking about what we taught in the last class. We were talking about, one kid just said, "Why do we break coconuts?" And there is a lot of inner meaning, and I say that when the thick crust is your ego, and then what comes in is that's kind of what they explained. The thick crust is your ego. That's the most important thing. A lot of times we go buy a car or buy a house, peer pressure, just to boost our ego, we do stuff, and then break a coconut right in front of the car, not understanding this is how opposite to what it was even created for. That particular ritual was even created. So if people start knowing, oh wow, okay, this is what it is, it probably creates more curiosity to come and understand it, which is more edible for common man. Then coming into this advanced Vedic concepts and Bhagavad Gita and everything, this is kind of that was a trigger point of that question.
Agreed. So I agree with you.
You finished already one-on-one features training.
How to overcome expectations? It is easy to say sab chhod do. You have a question and answer, and now expect a different answer, then it becomes difficult. I'll give you an example. The two examples that come into my mind is one of how they catch parrots and how they catch monkeys. Has anybody seen how they catch
Monkeys? Yeah.
You've seen?
Yeah. I mean, one of the...
So the parrots, what they do is they have a lever. Like there is a small round surface, spherical surface, which has an axis. And on that round surface, there is a guava or a fruit attached. So the bird comes, tries to land on that fruit. And because of the axis to that fruit, the entire fruit turns upside down because of the center of gravity, which the claws with which the bird is holding on to it, and it's upside down. Now it is a bird which has a capacity to fly. Right? And if you and I are hanging upside down at a very high altitude, and we will be holding with our life. But this is a bird which knows how to fly. Somewhere temporarily the knowledge or wisdom that I can fly is shut off. And it is in utter sheer fear that it clings onto the fruit without leaving. And what does the fellow has to do? He just has to come, catch hold of it, catch hold of the feathers and the legs, pull it and put it in a cage. In that fear, in that insecurity, the bird grips and grips it so strong, knowing very well that I can fly. This is how a parrot is caught. A monkey, which I have seen personally, is in the floor. There is a glass bottle, a jar, with a very thin neck, filled with nuts. So the monkey comes, puts its hand, and barely can get through, and grabs all the nuts. And now the hand is swelled up. The swelled up hand doesn't come out. It can barely come with your bare hand to go in. Now your hand is swelled up, the monkey starts freaking out. And the fellow bandhu, the other monkeys, they are not very helpful either. One gets agitated, the rest of them get agitated, not knowing what they are getting agitated for. We are not that way off. We are also like that. One gets agitated, everybody gets agitated, and when somebody comes and says, "Why are you agitated?" And everybody is like, "I don't know, he started it, I don't know, he started it, I am also agitated."
You know, happened actually, right? So,
Both president candidates racing against each other. What else is happening? दो बंदर ही तो है. I thought it happened only in India, like this kind of a situation. Anywhere there are human beings, it is a high possibility that such stupidity can happen. Proof. I have no regrets anymore. Bandar, they also do the same thing. One agitated, 40, 50 of them screaming, screeching, pulling, yelling. It's a chaos. So how does that Madari, who is now going to catch that monkey, chase these monkeys away? They have these firecrackers, those laddi, those 50, 100 wala. They light it up and throw it on that surface. And all the monkeys, they just jump and run away. And this one monkey, which is, even in all this chaos, it is that monkey which is holding on to the nuts. There is no one else holding, no bhoot, preta, pishacha holding. No one else holding, no one else stopping that monkey. If that monkey has to run away, what does it have to do? Sab chhod do. And then its hand is free. Nobody is holding it. Right? Then that Madari comes, first ties its neck with a belt, ties it down to a post, still doesn't give up, whacks the living daylights out of that monkey. With a cane, beats it, and it is screaming, it is screaming, and it's screaming. And one moment, somewhere it hits a nerve or something, and it drops, and he pulls that monkey out, and then tied up for the rest of the life. And why did I give these two examples? In our sense of security, the expectations that which we hold on to, nobody from the outside is asking us to hold on to. I have given a value to it, therefore I am holding on to it. Yes, for an outsider it is very easy to say, sab chhod do. As you the one holding it is because of ignorance. And dropping it can happen only through knowledge. Therefore, constantly educating that mind again and again and again will alone be the solution. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Darkness can be removed only by light. Similarly, unreality, asat, can be destabilized only by reality. How can that happen? That which is ignorance can be removed only by knowledge. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All questions done.
Do you guys have any questions?
Hey, bhai. I'm saying Shanti Shanti Shanti. Why are you again?
No, they came late. I don't know.
Okay? Anyway, because he has said, do you have questions? Thank you.
He does.
Oh, yeah.
And I do.
3?
But we can also discuss some of this. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
If you take the physical attributes out, the scriptures, deities, etc., what would make a person Hindu? How could one identify a person as a Hindu without looking at physical appearance? Or in other words, how should a person be expressing his or her Hinduism without the physical attributes? The first part of your question, I do understand how to understand a Hindu without those physical attributes. But why should there be an insistence that a person be expressing his or her Hinduism without physical attributes? Because whatever we believe, it comes out in its most physical expression out. Wherever we are, whatever we do, it comes out in this physical form of symbolic expressions. There is a physicality about it.
So without the bodily expressions, right? Just the physical objects.
Mm-hmm.
That was my question. So if you don't look at the deities, right, or if I don't, wear vibhuti or anything, right? How would you come, or how should I be expressing myself as a Hindu to humanity, right? There should be some other attributes rather than me calling I'm a Hindu, right? What is it that makes me a Hindu?
See, I get that is your first part of the question. But the second part of the question is the insistence wherein the attributes it should be independent of. That insistence need not be there. That is what I was focusing on. Okay. Now answering the first one, where I see where you are coming, that first question. To make it in a very, or put it in a very simple format for all of us to understand and apply also. Vedavyasji says it that Paropakaraya punyam, papaya parapidanam. He says two things. One, even if it be at your own cost of sacrifice or suffering, but if you can put others at a joyful disposition, that is called punya. To torture or to create disturbance and restlessness in anybody's thought, word or deed by our presence is called papa, is called sin. So avoid that. If this be applied from the grossest perspective, even if done, which is what is lacking in humanity, that we as human beings are the only creature which kills each other as a species, their own kind, for their security, sense of pride or sense of existence. This is quite deplorable, calling ourselves as the cream of the creation, and to be, I mean, you look at entire history. We have been killing each other for entire history. And all for what? Because of belief systems? Because of the color of the skin? Right? So what is lacking throughout history? The ability to stand up and help others, even if it is something that I have to suffer through. And not be an active participant of creating restlessness, agitation, suffering for any being, not just human, any creature or being. That would be called the greatest expression of Hindu. I am not going into further other attributes and details. If this be done to the core, you would be doing or relating to that divinity far faster than anybody who has been wearing different colors of clothes or different designs on their heads.
That's what I was trying to get to.
I know, I got your point.
Attributes, yeah.
But the attributes are inevitable. They will follow you whatever you do.
And to counter that, that's what is creating all this.
Not necessarily. The absence of ability to accept each other in spite of these expressions, that is creating animosity. Instead of creating that acceptance, we are creating tolerance. Wherever there is tolerance, it will break. Like even in physics, when you apply certain tolerance, it has a breaking point. But instead of tolerance, we should be evolving as human beings to accept each other as we are. Whatever is your belief system, I still accept you as that person. Without judging, without demeaning the other existence. That is not being promoted.
So could I say tolerance is what Hinduism is about?
No, acceptance is what Hinduism is.
Again, are they interrelated?
Which one?
Tolerance and acceptance.
Tolerance is a negative quality as I see it. It creates differences. Whereas acceptance is what builds bridges and creates a possibility of love and sustenance.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
How do I define purpose of my life? In order to understand the purpose of life, we tend to find lot of confusions or lot of, and the twist in this whole analysis or whole logic is, the purpose of understanding who I am is not to find the answer of who I am, but to evaporate the questioner. लिख लो ये 3 steps.
I'm trying to write it down.
हाँ, 3 steps, write it down. We define ourselves usually by what I am. It creates a lot of confusion and disparity. Understand who I am. And the purpose of understanding who I am, the third step is not to find the answer, but the questioner to be evaporated. I will not answer any further. Rather give you homework. Give me your understanding about these 3 steps. And anybody else who wants to discuss that.
When you say evaporate the questionnaire, it means.
अभी मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूँगा.
What is evaporate the question means?
That's what I said. The question.
सोचते हो.
No question. Okay.
It is already 9. I am supposed to conclude, but we'll answer this.
Thanks. Swamiji, what is the purpose of going to temple? I remember myself go to temple and pray. I need to be in good health, my family need to be good health, all that. And then now I go and then sit and then do not ask anything, just invite. But I don't know which one is right. And then there are times, I don't need to go to temple, probably just spend myself somewhere at home. So the challenge here is I need to really explain it better to my wife to understand. Hey, can you go to the temple? I'm changing.
Okay, I got your
myself.
question.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit that gives you?
How much time does your cell phone battery last? Your cell phone battery, how long does it last?
Oh, my life 60 years, 27. Oh.
Cell phone battery, how long does it last? Your phone.
7 hours.
A day, depending on my, a day, 1 day.
So how often do you charge?
Once in a day.
Once in a day? Why do you have to charge?
Keep up and running for next 24 hours.
Similarly, temple is that point, that focal point of positivity where I take myself to charge myself with that positivity so that I can continue the rest of the day in that positive tone or attitude. Therefore, in the past, in our ancient past, we would first go visit the temple as a daily chore. If that is not possible, at least go weekend. Because we are already weekend to strengthen.
Yeah.
So that is one place where we can charge ourselves with that positivity. And US, I have added another answer, is that is one place on weekend where you get free meals. Therefore, go for prasad bhakti. So, but you got to point the first one. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om.